What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Major Keyz podcast, talking to keyboard players about music and life and everything in between. This is installment number 4 of highlighting all of my teachers, the person who made this version of Zach Wilson. And today, we got the last one to round it out, Mr. Tyrone Jackson.
As the applause go right there, make sure you insert that in the mix. Right there,
we usually insert it right.
Right.
we usually insert.
Right.
We got a big post-production staff here at the Major Keyz podcast.
I think I know your staff. Man.
all one of them.
All.
How's it going today, Doc?
No, it's pretty good, man. I'm glad to be on the show and glad to be a part of this and part of your life, man. This is crazy.
Hey, man, you know. Because it almost didn't happen.
Oh wow! Are we going to start?
We can start.
Can we start?
I mean, like, we're gonna talk about you.
Have to,
okay. But we can start there.
We can start anywhere you want. This is your show, bro.
I auditioned for Kennesaw. I auditioned for no.
Wait.
I applied to KSU.
Right, and you were on the audition list.
I applied to KSU, and I also had an audition scheduled for the KSU School of Music. Right.
Yes.
KSU didn't accept me at first because my SAT scores were not where they needed to be.
Okay, that's very
and
transparent.
So I was,
very good.
and so yeah, it is what it is. The degree's on the wall now. I don't care. But I mean, like, so they didn't accept me at first.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, well, that means the audition is canceled.
That's what you
That's
thought.
exactly what I thought. I also had an audition for Berkeley that week.
Right.
So,
Berkeley. Yes.
so the audition for Berkeley was on Saturday, and I think the audition for KSU was on Friday. The plan was my dad and I were gonna just be in Atlanta for the weekend, so I can hit both of those auditions. But since like KSU didn't accept me, I was like, oh well, the audition is canceled. Right. I'm sure. So I'm like, there's no need to go up. So I think we went up on Friday. But we were just gonna go to the hotel, chill out on Friday or whatever, so I can audition on Saturday for Berkeley. Or maybe audition on Sunday. It might have been Saturday, Sunday. Whatever.
I think it was a Friday because I was remembering I have to drive up to Kennesaw on a Friday. It might have been a Saturday. I don't know.
It might have been Saturday, Sunday. Doesn't matter.
Water under the bridge.
Yeah. So I did not show up, and
Okay.
there was a number that was calling me, and I'm like, I don't know who this is. It didn't, and like I'm not answering it. And then you called me a couple of more times, and I'm like, well, maybe I should see what's up.
Right.
And then that was you.
That was me. So we rescheduled the audition.
Yes.
And I still remember a tune that you played.
Mm-hmm.
You played Blue Bossa, but as a swing.
Mm.
Now you killed it, but and you know I don't know what we're going to be getting into on this podcast, but
it's whatever.
I thought about this. Whenever you have a student, and I'm sure you teach too now and stuff,
Actually,
right?
not really,
okay,
but here and there.
But you have
yeah.
taught, right?
I have, yeah.
So the first thing you do, you can tell what a student can do or what a person can do the first couple of notes that they play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, audition is just a mere formality. I mean, at this level and skill set, first 3 notes you play are the first part of the solo. I mean, and this is for anybody who wants to audition.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to blow away the judges. It's not like you're going to do something that we've never heard before. So everybody usually tries to impress us with speed and chops and all this kind of, not to say that you did that, but you can tell what a person can do when they start playing the instrument. And then you just look at other things while it's going on. You check out, see how they interact, see if they're, whatever. So immediately when I heard you play, and like I said, I researched earlier. I looked on YouTube and saw some videos, whatever, as well. I felt I had to figure out if you accepted our program and decided to come to Kennesaw, what could I teach you or how would I teach you?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I knew I would have to teach you had nothing to do with the hardest stuff about teaching, which is how do you teach creativity?
Mm-hmm.
How do you teach great rhythm, right? How do you teach passion? How do you teach energy? Those things you did not lack at all. You had all those things, and that's and how to be intuitive and leadership positions. How do you teach that? You had all those skills. So I just had to try to dial in your foundation, your fundamentals kind of stuff. And also the biggest thing is to have you create within the confines of a box, right? Because you can go outside the box at any time. And also, if you remember, I have to take away some of your leadership skills.
Oh man!
So you can learn how to follow, because you're like type A personality all the way. It's like, man, let's do this, Doc. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do that. So it's like, hey, can you give somebody else another chance? And you're looking at me. I remember you looking at me like, dude, this could go a whole lot faster. You let me do it.
I'm like, dog, just let me work.
Dude, I was like, but other people got to be able to work too. You got to be in a follow position. So those are the easy things to teach. The opposite is the hardest thing to teach. So I just knew if I could steer you in certain directions. And at this point, I'm more like a guide, because you're going to pick up what you're going to pick up anyway. But I'm looking for the holes in your plan. I'm looking for the holes for different things. Say, well, let's guide you in this area and take your strengths are your strengths. Let's work on the weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And you responded to that too. And maybe, I don't know if it took a long time. I can't remember. It's just, I remember yelling at you, but that's like my style anyway. So.
Now, you said it took a minute, but also it probably wasn't even, if I could only just practice what you gave me,
right,
and I didn't have to do all the other classes that didn't matter,
right.
It probably would have been a little bit more.
It probably mattered, but I mean, I see what you're
Those
saying.
classes didn't matter. No, I'm not talking about not music classes.
Right.
I'm talking about.
What about biology or something like that?
I don't care about the. Come on, man.
It took you to a higher plane, man. That's it.
That's good. I couldn't tell you one thing. I couldn't tell you what. I had a class called weathering. I still don't know what that class was about. Oh, wow. I don't know what that class was about.
Okay.
Anyways, but let's but no, Tyrone, he encouraged me. He was like, "Hey, retake the SAT.
Right,
I see something in you."
Yeah.
And like, "Hey, let's work." Right. If you didn't do that,
right.
Casey was just gonna be like, all right, well, that didn't happen, and we would have just kept it moving, and whatever the path or the story would have been different.
I think around your junior year is when you just like took a quantum leap, because it was fighting at first, and not that it was like a hard fight, but it was like trying to get somebody to buy into a concept. You think about like a band, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you first are part of a band, it's really sales. It's like, why should I be in the band? Now, if there's a couple of reasons for why you would be in the band, it's making a lot of money, right? It's like, okay, the musicianship might suck, but they're making a lot of money. So you kind of like, okay, I'm going to put that on the side. Then the other thing is the musicianship might be off the chain, but it might not pay a lot of money. You're like, I like playing with these cats. I like that we're going in a direction. But at some point, the business has to jump in and say, man, this is not worth my time, And then the dream job is they have all that together. But sometimes we don't have none of those factors.
Right.
So the same thing is like in education is like, okay, what part of this is sales? That how can I get you to buy in to what's going on? And I think around your junior year, you finally like bought in and hit it like, man, headstrong. You were head in. You there and ready to go. So no cap on that.
I mean, cool.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah. So I think that's when it started. Like, you bought into what was going on, and we found our groove, and then you just started doing big things. And a culmination of your recital where you did the Herbie thing, I was like, I don't know if you remember. It's like, man, you really got something right there. So,
oh man,
so
appreciate
I'm glad you recorded that too.
Thank you. Cool. So let's start from the top with you. So how did you get started playing keys, and walk us through your journey in that sort of situation?
Well, man, it was really a blessing, because I never really, like, my brother would ask for things. Like, I want to play the trumpet. My older brother, I have two brothers and a sister. My older brother is a year older than me, actually 13 months to be exact. And then my younger brother is 3 years younger. So I thank God I had a mother that wanted us to be more resourceful, to be more like a Renaissance man, that you could do a lot of different things. So she bought a piano. She bought a piano. I think it was somebody in the family, whatever, and got it moved over to the house. And she wanted us all to take piano lessons, because she regretted not sticking with piano. I think she quit piano after 2 weeks of having piano lessons.
Okay.
And she also played saxophone. But my dad was a really good musician. He played clarinet. But when he was getting really good and was playing in the club, my grandmother, his mother, stopped him from playing in nightclubs, because she didn't want him to get in trouble. So my dad had a propensity for music and for math, and my mom had an enjoyment for it. So long story short, she made us take piano lessons, and we played a recital, and I heard a girl play Fur Elise,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked my teacher, I said, "Wow, I like that song. Can I play it?" She said, "Well, there's a couple of grade levels past where you are."
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, not defeated, but I was like, wow, but I really like the song. So I said, is there sheet music for it? So she's like, yeah. So I asked my mom if we can buy the sheet music. We went to this store called Werlines
Mm-hmm.
and got the sheet music, and I learned the song within 2 weeks, like all 3 movements.
Oh, wow.
And my teacher's like, how did you do that? I said, well, I really like the song,
Mm-hmm.
And so.
And at this point, how long had you been playing when you decided to do that?
Well, I was took lessons when I was in like 4th grade going to 5th grade, whatever. And then that recital was probably was in 5th or 6th grade, whatever.
So you're only like a year or two in.
Yeah, year or two.
Maybe.
Right,
yeah.
right. And it started, and then everybody in my family is like highly competitive. So,
Mm-hmm.
But I think the change started happening when I got into like 9th grade, and I was really good at my high school. I was like one of the best piano players. And then I auditioned for NOCA, which is New Orleans Center for Creative Arts. Marcellus went there, Terrence Blanchard, Jason Marcellus, Nicholas Payton,
Oh, wow.
list goes.
Okay.
Harry Connick Jr.
Oh,
They all
okay.
study there. And I made it in. And when I got there, I wasn't the best pianist. I wasn't the second best.
Uh-oh.
I wasn't the third best.
You were.
I was like the worst.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, whoa, I'm the best at my high school. And it's like a parallel in sports. Like, everybody's fast in the NFL,
Mhm.
Everybody's fast in the NBA. Everybody was the 5-star recruit, what have you,
Mm-hmm.
So I got there, and this girl who was like 12, 13 years old, she was playing these, Beethoven's Pathetique sonatas and stuff. And I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I got to really put some time into it because I started late. I didn't have the resources these other people had.
Mm-hmm.
So started doing that. My parents got divorced, and my mom, we were taken from Moses Hogan, who's incredible pianist at the time and composer, and he was quite expensive.
Mm.
And I know my mother must have felt bad, but she said, well, Tyrone, looked like you're showing the most promising piano. So she said I could only afford to keep one of you guys in lessons, and that was me. So I was like, I had to take it seriously then, because my other brothers, if I didn't take it seriously, they're not taking piano lessons because I'm supposed to be the serious one. So, So got started there, but I was a classical major. I wasn't jazz. I was a classical pianist.
Okay.
But I always was drawn to jazz, and so I was going to go to Dillard because that's where my teacher taught. And then I found out that at University of New Orleans, UNO, Ellis Marcellus was coming back.
Okay.
And he was going to head up the jazz program. So my brother was already going to UNO, so I went to UNO, and I started off as an ed major, but then quickly I was able to get into the jazz program because they didn't have a lot of piano players there. Man, that next semester, a whole influx of piano players came in, so I wouldn't have been able to get in the program.
Oh, wow.
Because
so you got in right on time.
Right at the right time. It was only a God thing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got in, started studying with Ellis Marcellus, who's Wynton and Branford's dad. And it was just a great experience to be around those cats and learning. And, Gray Mayfield, killing saxophone player, he lives in Augusta right now, but
Mm-hmm.
he was there. He's a mentor to your boy, Brad Canada. And stuff.
Oh, okay.
But he gave me my first real jazz tape. He really helped me out and gave me some stuff when a lot of people weren't sharing information. So, you're indebted to a lot of people along your journey. So
Absolutely, yeah.
So got there, started getting good, and started playing gigs around town. And then I moved out to Atlanta in summer of '97,
Mm-hmm.
and been here ever since, building a career, keep practicing, keep shedding, keep working on my professional acumen, all those different things.
Mm-hmm.
And, started teaching at Kennesaw in like 2010 part-time. And then I think I went full-time around 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So, and our program is really building, expanding. We got more piano players now. I think we have like 8 now.
Nice.
Which is really good. So I
Mhm.
remember it was just you and Brian.
Oh, yeah, it was me and Brian Reed for a minute.
It's for a major, and then we slowly brought that up. It's recruiting. It's like tough competing with all the programs. But you guys, you and Brian both coming out and being part of the music community now represents me,
Mm-hmm.
because if you guys play well and sound good, they're going to say, who's your teacher? They can also say if you sound bad, man, who's your teacher?
Yeah,
You know, which is a whole different, same words, different.
Oh, absolutely. It's
right?
like you learn from.
You,
I was like,
right.
Oh man.
So so it's always good to have students that can represent you when you're out in the field. Somebody say, "Who's your teacher?" And it's like, "Hey, I met your student."
Yeah.
And then you don't say which one did you.
Oh, no.
You know?
You're like, I'm working. I'm working on them. Like like they're new.
Right.
I just got them last week.
Right.
So when did the switch flip for you? Like, oh, I want to do music full time. Like, this is what I really want to do. Was it when you did the For Elise thing, or like was it after that? Like, yo, I want to do this like for real.
It's weird. My mom made us take a test to see what our strengths were, because she said, well, maybe music is not the thing. And I took the test, whatever this test that they had.
Like a litmus
It
sort
was
of
It was
situation.
kind of like, the ASVAB test for like Army and stuff like that. This was a test like to see what your strengths are, and I can't think of the name of that test, but it was like to see what occupation you would be leaning toward it.
Okay.
And so everything.
Aptitude.
Yeah, aptitude test. So everything.
I pulled that one out.
Thanks.
I pulled that one. I've never had to use that.
Because we used up all your time me thinking about what the name of the test was.
Yeah.
But anyway, so everything pointed to music.
Mm-hmm.
I had a little thick block of science, and I always thought if I didn't go to music, I was going to be a microbiologist. So, yes.
Okay.
But I always was intrigued by how things work, and I think that's my real talent. It's not music per se, even though some people would disagree because they say, well, we can hear the passion and stuff that you play. But I think my real talent is like I want to figure out how something works, and once I get in that position, like my mom and dad told me I would break all the clocks in the house, and I would just, grab things and, open them up and figure out how they work. My dad said I unscrewed a doorknob without a screwdriver before.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how I did that. And I would make little traps and stuff and different things. But so the intuitive way of things, how they worked, and I think when they gave me music, that translated to that. And that's why microbiology was like, well, how does this cell work? What is the energy source, this or whatever? How is this fission and fusion, all these different things? That's why I was really interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
But so when did I feel like music was the switch? I don't know. I think when, I know the switch. Used to work for a moving company, right? Me and my brothers. And it was in New Orleans, and it's hot in New Orleans, and we'd get like meager money, but at least we had a job,
Mm-hmm.
And so one day I got offered this gig, just a solo piano gig. It was $200. It was only for 2 hours, I mean,
okay. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, this is back in the day, so
yeah.
So go out, do the gig. My brothers go out for a moving gig. They made $80 that day. That's with a $20 tip included, which is $20.
Mm-hmm.
Tip is real good. They were excited about that. But they came back, they were all sweaty.
Yeah.
They were, tired. They were hungry. And I was like, man, we're going to go play some basketball. I was like, man, we can't play the basketball. We're tired, whatever.
Yeah.
And then my younger brother was like, man, we made $20 of tips today.
I'm like, oh,
and
nice.
I said, you made $80 in the heat, sweated through 3 shirts. You're too tired to play basketball. You don't know whether you want to eat or sleep. And that was a good day. I was like, I just made $200 in 2 hours. And my brother said, that's the last they saw of me right there. That's what I said. I was like, I'm going to make this music thing work.
Man.
So that was it,
I'd slick in a way, like when I was playing at church in high school, and people were like, they were working their restaurant. I was like,
right, I can't go fries at McDonald's, bro.
I'm like,
I could do this.
I'm like, dog, I work maybe 4 hours.
We're practicing anyway.
Right? Besides practicing, I'm talking about like I have to learn the songs for church and then play at church.
Right.
That is like my. Oh man, to be back in high school, making the money that I was making.
Right.
Man.
But
anyways,
could have been worse. You could have been on fries.
Dog, I'm very grateful that I've worked quote unquote. I've worked non-music jobs.
Right.
But I'm grateful that at the moment I don't have to do that, and I really hope that I don't have to do it. It definitely is a blessing to be able to just like, even though there are the pros and cons with it.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you hate, man. If I play piano, I'd learn all the songs, and no, you wouldn't.
No, it's a lot of work, but you have to enjoy it. But unfortunately for young black men, um, we don't think about working with this, and we don't have that history of this being the way that we make money. It's usually with our strength and with that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't think that we're taught that. So that was a turning point for me, because moving company, I was in shape, great shape, and sweating, working out, and felt close to the earth and stuff. It was hard work. But for my mind to make the money, it was a different thing, you know. And so it's worked. It's 80% of what we do, maybe even 90% people don't see.
Yeah.
We're up. We got to listen to music. We got to go check out. We got to be up on technology. You know, we can't let technology pass us by because we exist in that world. You know, YouTube. How many songs have you learned from looking them up on YouTube?
Oh man, I've had a couple of last minute. Hey, let me Someone else has learned it before.
Right. You know, we go to bed late, wake up early to work on stuff, and there's no excuse. There's no backup plan. It's like you go to play for church. You can't have somebody come in at the last minute and play. They have to know the songs, they have to know the repertoire.
Yeah.
It's not like I have to go sweep a floor. You can get 5 guys to do that.
Yeah. It's a very specific job once you decide to do it. Yeah.
Right. So yeah.
How was your the music college experience like then? And how do you think it's different from how you experienced it to how people are experiencing it now, since you know both sides of it?
I think when I was going through school, it was a little bit more hardcore. And what I mean by that is you could fail. You get Fs real quick. Nowadays, you have to basically do nothing to get an F.
Yeah.
You know, and the onus is on you to, like, just really mess up. When I was going to school, man, whatever they felt like grading you, giving you, that was it, you know. So you really had to jump through hoops. I think now it's more friendly for kids coming to school. Not saying it's easy.
Right.
And not saying it's easier, because the pressures that you guys have with social media and all the stuff that goes along with that, and making mistakes in the public eye. Like, I could make a mistake and there would not be a camera on me, you know? And so
group chats.
Yeah, all that stuff, man. And receipts, you know, people say,
yeah.
Look, hey, I got
hey, man, Tyrone ain't do it last night, bro.
Yeah, or just think about you playing on a gig and sound bad.
Yeah.
And somebody posts that.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't exist when I was
And then let it be their first impression of you.
Exactly.
That's gotta.
It would be horrible.
Because everyone's like, say if you're like dope, like you're the level that you're at now, but you had that one off night.
Yes.
And that's the night that somebody came and saw you. It's like, this is who y'all are talking about?
That's a lot. That's a lot of pressure.
And then you got to defend them. And it's like,
what if a meme gets created about it?
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
it doesn't take much.
It's undefeated, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, you know, so I didn't have that pressure, but we, you know, when we had our professors, like, what they said was law. And I had a professor, I won't name the professor's name, but he told me, hey, if you want to make it as a musician, you have to question your beliefs and you have to change your beliefs and stuff. And I refused to accept that totally. I was like, I know that what he's saying, but you have to come into having your own moxie and having your own. It's a fine line, because these people have gone before you, so you have to listen, right?
Right.
But, you know, wisdom is from a multitude of counsel. You know, you have a lot of people that's you listen to and advise and see and look how it cross checks and operates together and say, okay, that's how I can make an informed decision. Don't always go with your heart, because your heart could be like feelings. Like a lot of people say nowadays, I feel like this, I feel like that. Okay, I didn't feel like waking up this morning, but I had to wake up and go to not wake up this morning. I didn't feel like going to work this morning.
Yeah.
But I had to, because I had to get the money that's associated with it. And then you know what? When you finally get to work, do what you're doing, you feel better. So feeling is fleeting every now and then. So you have to really think your way through. You know? So yeah. I don't know if that answered the question.
Hey man, that was great insight. That was great insight. What do you think is the hardest challenge about? Do you think like that goes into like maybe the challenges of teaching today too?
Yeah, it is, because this is the first time ever I had to deal with kids who may have not played in bands or play their instrument with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
they just know what to do, but
or they just play on YouTube or Instagram videos, whatever, but they don't play necessarily with anybody. So I'm finding myself having to teach how do you play in a group. You know, it's like a keyboard player will play all these runs and all these different things, and I'm like, well, I haven't heard you groove yet. I haven't heard you comp. I haven't heard you play a complementary role to everybody else. I haven't heard you figure out your sounds that you have to figure out to play on a gig, you know. So all those things are playing with the internal pulse of a band without a click track. Is that going now, playing without a click track?
I don't know. My albums are recorded with click tracks.
Right. I mean, but live, I'm talking about live situations.
Oh.
Yeah, everything's got a loop. Like, you hear these drummers playing these fantastic things, but in there, people don't realize in their ear they have a metronome going on.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know what you're getting at. I know what you're getting at. I think it's just a safety. I think it might just be a safety thing.
It is, but it's an art to be able to play without a click track and keep a beat. Or
Very
keep
true.
A groove.
Yeah.
And you know, in one of these churches I play for now, they have in your monitor it tells you bridge 2, 3, 4, verse coming up, vamp.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, it's easier, but is it better for your development? You know?
As far as it might, I don't know, because I didn't start out like that.
Right.
I actually prefer, like, when, like, my drummer, he'll ask me, like, because I can't, when I record my album, I have like 10 people, and I'm like, I'm not performing with that many people all the time.
Right.
And so he's like, man, you're gonna stem it out? I'm like, no, we're gonna work with what we got, bro. I'm not like I like if it comes to performing my own stuff, I don't want a track or like a stem or whatever.
Well,
like I like it.
Don't work for you. Though,
I like it for
because you're very spontaneous.
That too.
Yeah,
I mean, like I was like, I'm definitely not Keyz.
Right.
Now maybe a click, maybe. Right. But I'm like, I also just don't think it's that deep. But I've done both sides. I was like, especially if there's like a lot going on, maybe you have to learn a lot of information like in a short amount of time. It definitely helps.
I'm not mad at the Keyz. I'm just saying that you losing, it definitely makes you lazier. But if
you start out with that, I think it kind of hinders a little bit.
I give you a perfect example.
All right.
Okay, when I was coming up, here's a difference the way school is now and before. The real book was illegal.
Oh yeah.
So you couldn't make copies of it like at a Kinko's, whatever, because it didn't have a copyright on it, and so there was I saw these guys with real books, and I said, how do you get a real book? He's like, there's a guy that comes to the school twice a year.
Twice a year?
Yes. And I was like, well, he said, keep $25 in your pocket at all times.
Because you never know when he's coming. This is for the real books.
It's the real books, right?
This is like, it's like a seasonal drug dealer.
Exactly. It was like that, right?
He comes in June and December.
All these cats with real books with all the songs in and stuff. I was like, man, okay, y'all have everything now. But so anyway, had $25 in my pocket for like 3 weeks, bro, and I was like, man, this dude ain't coming. I was like, I'm hungry, so I go get something to eat. The next day, the dude shows up. I got $15 in my pocket. He's like, it's $25. I was like, I live 5 minutes away. I was like, asked my brother Don. I was like, man, I need to take me back home. I need to borrow, some money, whatever, from mom and get this real book. Came back, the cat was gone.
Vanished.
Like, so
this is such a sitcom event. this is real life.
It's real life, bro. So I just kept that $25 in my pocket. Sure enough, he came back like the next semester. I bought the real book, but then he had these little mini real books, and then he had edition 7. The one that everybody had was edition 5, 5th edition. He had the new real book. I was like, what? But I didn't have another $25 in my pocket. So fast forward to when I started gigging, and you pull up a song like Green Dolphin Street, and which I didn't know had lyrics. Then I worked with a singer, and she's like, oh, I'm going to do Green Dolphin Street in G. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm going to have to transpose on the fly. So I had gotten
and then
really good.
That's like in...
90.
I'm saying what key is it in?
Well, everything's based off the Miles version. So
yeah,
Miles does it in E flat.
Right. That's what I thought.
C. So none of those.
Oh wait, so Miles's version is in E flat.
Yeah.
The real, which is I was like I think it's in E flat, but I just didn't want to
say
it and be wrong.
Right,
so real book was in C. So yeah,
this singer was in G.
So you had to
those,
transpose a fifth up while you're reading,
or fourth down, whatever's close.
Yeah. So while you're reading this lead sheet, you're transposing on the spot.
Yes, and so I had gotten really good at it, and that was par for the course. That's how you did things. You had to transpose on the fly. Somebody had a chart, you had to read it.
And you did you know numbers at this time, or did you just know?
I don't think I did. I should have done numbers, but I wasn't really. I didn't think I was dealing with numbers like that. But I just did my intervallic.
Okay, yeah.
And if it was a 2-5-1 or something, I could realize, okay, this is a 2-5-1 in C or whatever. But I just intervallically looked at it and try to memorize it from there. But if it was a tritone, that was really difficult to try to use intervals. But I didn't think about using numbers at the time because I wasn't looking at music like that at that time.
You know Edwin Williams, the bass player.
Yes.
You know he has a bass in it like it's a It's like it's like a tritone away or something like that.
I just did a gig with him like month before last or last month, and we were on a gig, and I said, hey man, just vamp on a D or something like that, and he did something weird, and I was like, dude, that's not it.
Oh, you were looking at it like
yeah.
I
was like, that should be an open string or something like that. He's like, no, I got it tuned weird. I was like, stop right there. So I didn't want to know the mechanism.
Yeah. He explained it to me. He was like, however, like whatever the bass is, or what like the bass guitar is, or like however the strings are tuned, it's like a tritone away from like what the actual concert note is. And I'm like, so you're just, I'm like, wait a second, so you're just transposing all the time? In your head? I was like, that.
Yeah. And so to my point, now here comes iReal Pro. And every song's in there, and you can change the key.
I tell you what, I don't know how I would have gotten.
But guess who's lazy because of it? Me. I get on. I play at 3 jam sessions now.
Yeah.
And there's a song I really don't know, or I would probably say, hey, let's do something else. I said, let me take a look at it and this key, whatever, and it helps me out, but it makes me lazy.
I'll say that too, because I know that there are songs that like I know, but I'm like, let me just look real quick. Like I'll call myself. I'm like, I know that there are songs that I should probably know by memory, but it's like I don't play them as often.
Right.
And then it's like, well, I was like, I've maybe played it once or twice 3 years ago. I don't know it, and I'm not about to mess up.
Right.
So I'm about to pull out my phone and I'm about to look at it.
I saw a post the other day where the vocalist people were getting on Patti LaBelle for missing some lyrics, whatever.
Did you see her last night?
Well, I didn't see it, but I saw the post. But here's the thing.
We're filming this the day after the BET Awards for context. Go ahead.
But here's the thing. They got people who are lambasting Patti LaBelle, and they still looking at lyrics on their phone to songs that they should know. So come on, man. You don't know that business. You don't know how much practice they had on something. You know if a person, you know how it is on those shows. Man, everything goes like that.
Yeah.
There's production involved.
Yeah.
So if somebody messes up a cue card, they don't know that the person messed up the cues on the TV or whatever prompter. They just know that you messed up.
Right.
And you bear the brunt of it, right?
Absolutely.
Remember when that microphone fell on Adele in that awards thing? She didn't have a microphone. People were just, oh, that sounded bad, or the piano player sounded bad because the microphone fell right in the piano on the strings.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of forces that go along behind the scenes, and we judge that person off of that, you know. But I digress. So iReal Pro has made it easier for me to deal with situations, which makes it more successful. And that's what technology does. If somebody says, hey, back in the day, we used to wash clothes by hand. Yeah, how long did it take to wash those clothes by hand?
Right.
Now, are their forearms stronger because they wash? Yes, it is. But now that we have technology, you say we're not going to use the technology because maybe it was better that way, but it wasn't. It used up more time. So there lies in the problem with technology and advances. There's no way you're going to be stronger than the people came behind you if technologies had made the job easier. But, I'm just saying, sometimes like my doctor told me, he's like, hey, you know, your blood pressure's getting up there. Sometimes take the stairs instead of the elevator. And so elevator is easy. It saves you, but it's not going to create strength. You got to take the stairs for that. You know. And I think as keyboard players, we take the elevator a lot. We go to YouTube, learn how to figure out a song because they're going to teach us. Do I do it? Yes. Do I look up on the internet what's the chords to this song, especially if I'm stuck for time, pressed for time? Yeah. But does that make me lazier? Yes. Does it make me not stronger? No. So I'm gonna write an article. Don't steal my thing. Sometimes you gotta take the stairs. So if anybody who's watching this, if y'all take my stuff, I don't know. I can't sue you or anything.
I was like, I don't know anyway, what legal parameters we have around this podcast, but sometimes you got to take the stairs.
Just know I'll be looking for you.
Sometimes you got to take the stairs.
Right. Sometimes you got to take the stairs.
Tell me about what it was like recording your first album. Like, what was that? What was that like? Your first time jumping into. And had you done studio sessions before?
I've done studio sessions before, but you never know the other side of it until you try to put it together.
Yeah.
And so the first time I had my deadlines, I thought it was going to happen. Yeah, I'm going to record this there. I'm going to have these personnel here. And, man, it's going to come out. Then I'm going to mix by this time. And I should have the CD out by, 3 weeks or whatever. Not according to plan at all. You just have to be patient and learn that, okay, whatever you think your budget was, it's going to be more.
Yeah.
Whatever you think person you had lined up for the studio, they might not show up. You got to go to plan B. You think that you're going to have this thing mixed in a week? Nah, it's going to go longer than that, Oh, I got to take pictures somewhere. I took a picture for my first CD out in this field.
Yeah, that was the one in the field.
Right. A police officer came up and told us that we were on protected grounds.
Oh, wow.
So the dude hurry up and took the picture. I had my hands up like this.
Yeah.
I just didn't play. I didn't have my hands out like this. So it was like a ranger or something like that. He's like, man, y'all got to get out of there. And I was like, he's like, keep taking the pictures.
Yeah.
So got out of there. So you learn things as you go along, and you learn how to I didn't know anything about mastering. I was like, once it's mixed, it should be fine. The guy was like trying to explain mastering to me. So he finally said, I'm going to let you talk to Rodney Mills, great mastering house. He was real good. And he's like, call him up and see if you can go sit in. Well, Rodney Mills doesn't let anybody sit in a session, but he let me sit in while he was mastering one song. And when I heard the difference, I was like, okay, I understand that now. So later on, you realize how much goes into it. And then here's another thing. I didn't want to pirate any more music after I did my own project. I knew how much it cost, how much energy went into it. I was like, man, I'm supporting artists from now. I'm buying their music if I get a chance. Even if I could go on Spotify, I still buy a physical CD, even though I don't only have a CD player in my car. But I'll buy this physical.
You haven't bought my album. Well,
I bought that with blood and tears.
I gave you a copy.
No, you gave me a copy. But if you want me to buy it, bro, I'll buy it today.
They're always on. They're always available.
I was an investment. You
were. No. I will take this back because there was I had a donation sort of situation and you and you definitely donated.
See?
No. You were a donation.
Wow.
You
see that, everybody?
No. But nah, so the composition part was easy.
Right.
So it was like how long was it like, oh, I'm writing songs and I'm going to decide to make an album, or is it like I'm going to make an album and let's start writing?
I think my first one, I wanted to make an album and start writing. Then the subsequent albums were like the songs came to me, And then one was a part of my master's thesis where I wrote this sweet Melody in Need.
The Melody in Need one, yeah.
So that one was like it was very theme oriented, and so everything matched that theme. It was a suite, so that was a through composed kind of situation. So that was, I don't want to say it was easier, but writing in a framework of something that existed seems always easier to me than something that's nebulous and you try to put songs together and throw songs out. Some songs don't make the album or whatever.
Right. I will say that album is very much a favorite because of the thematic elements to it. Right. So explain the concept of Melody in Need.
Well, Need, N-E-D-E, is Eden spelled backwards. And the concept is that there's these guys who are friends who exist and there's no melody. And the melody is an allusion to a female, right? And how these guys who were both good friends and brothers, and they fought over melody, and the melody is one theme that goes throughout the song. And then this guy sells his soul to the devil so he can get the upper hand and have melody, right? But then in his defeated state, the protagonist finds a new melody,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're able to weave these melodies together. And at the end, there's this big thing called a reconciliation, where I use like a Mardi Gras theme
Mm-hmm.
second line beat to bring the relationship back together.
Yeah, watching you perform that and bringing it together. When you did it at KSU that one time,
Yeah,
that was fun. That was fun. But how do you? This is it's hard to how do you convey emotion through instrumental music? Like it's kind of like I was talking to I think I was talking to Xavier Davis about this on the first episode. It's like you can title a song something, it can mean absolutely nothing, or you have to like kind of explain it. But it's just like, how do you feel like you convey that through instrumental music? Because it's definitely easier with words.
I'm gonna say something very controversial.
All right, here we go.
Emotion is perception. So it's not like a note could convey expression. Like we can get a robot to play a note on the piano and play a Coltrane solo, what have you. But it's the trickery that we add in and your perception of what your interval or what note or what construct you're going to play that may emit a certain emotion. We play a minor chord and say that's sad. But I play a lot of songs where I have minor chords and it sounds happy. But it's the way you construct or utilize that into making people feel like it's like you're a magician. You're like, hey, look at this hand, and this hand is doing something else, right? So by you using these vibrations, like because music is vibrations, vibrating sources. If you play fast, you tend to have more energy. If you play slower, you tend to bring it down where it's more contemplative, right? So we utilize all those different techniques to give emotion. You crescendo, you decrescendo, right? Diminuendo. You do a ritar, you do a cello rondo to convey these messages. But it's really just trickery, right? It's you when you bend the note on a guitar, it's emulating the instrument of the voice, right?
Right.
That says I might be suffering at the moment. This is the blues when I do this sharp 4 to the 5, that in between note when I'm sliding up and I hit the pitch bend. You know, you've played on gigs and you go,
yeah.
Woo, like that. Well, where did that come from? You know, we are taking something that's not malleable and we're bending it to our will to make it seem like we're doing this. And so oftentimes, though, you tap into the emotional side of your playing to try to convey that. This is the way I'm feeling. But, you know, it's very manipulative. So I worked in this play and I was with an actor. And the actor is like, hey, man, I could be a politician easily. I was like, how? He's like, I'm an actor. Act all the time. You don't know if I'm telling the truth. And he said something.
Oh, wow.
And when he said something, I believed him. He was like, man, I just made that up.
Wow.
Because he's an actor. And he's conveying, he works with, and I've seen him. He's like, he was saying something, and he's just like rubbed his arm like this. And I was like, he studies people and actions. But it was manipulation, bro.
Yeah.
He was like, I do this. So when we study and we practice instrumentally, do things, we watch what works. We play with people, and you see how some people are great with the audience and great with picking the song structure and great with playing things that get emotion. You don't think you absorb that and figure out, oh, that's what you do. And when you get out of college, most students that get out of college, that's when the real learning exists, because you can play all these Coltrane matrices and stuff like that. You go play an R&B gig and try to play that stuff, it does not work.
It doesn't work, yeah.
You have to figure out, how am I reaching that audience member, you know? And you pick that up, and that's how you figure out how emotions work in instrumental music.
Got you. Out of all of the musical things that you do, because you teach, you have your own album, so you play up under your own name. You play sideman to some people. You produce some vocalist albums. What part do you think is like is your favorite? Like, what do you enjoy to do the most out of all of the facets of music that and you play for stage plays,
right
too,
and compose
for them.
It's like asking perpetually, what's your favorite clothes to wear? So it's like, okay, when back in 2013, what was your favorite clothes to wear? 2023, what is your favorite? Is it the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Could be, could not be. So as musicians, and I want everybody to get this, as a musician, you have to wear different hats.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a different percentage that's based on your occupation at the time. You might be composing more than you're performing. 50% composing, 50% performing. Might be 80% education, 20% playing, performance. And then it might flip. You might have 20% performance and 80%. Well, I did that.
Yeah.
It might be 20% education and 80% performance. And so my favorite thing is usually performing, but that gets kind of old after a while too.
Mm-hmm.
But I wrote some music for this play called Phenomenal Maya, and it debuted in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, right? So I had never heard the music in sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So me and my wife, we went to go to see the play. I think it wasn't open at night. It was close to closing night, something like that. And I had no idea when the music was coming up because I'd never composed in the chronological order. So seeing the play and hearing the music come in, it was like crazy. So I really enjoyed that. And then they're doing it again in Houston, but I have these additions I have to do. I think hopefully I'm finished. I had the last 3 cues that I had to finish up. So I enjoy that, making music in my pajamas.
Yeah.
You know, and didn't have to go anywhere. So
and then seeing it play out.
And then the pandemic, I wrote this song for this movie called Canal Street, and I went to the mailbox and opened up, and I had a check in it from BMI. It was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. I need to do more of this.
Yeah.
So, you know, right now I rather enjoy composing, but I'm also in a phase of my life where I'm getting a PhD in music education. So that's occupying a lot of time. So now I'm liking writing about music and writing about jazz and writing about how people acquire jazz language. So now I'm getting passionate about that. So that's another thing about music that has nothing to do with performance, but has to do with everything about my experience and the validity and the reliability of my experiences, and to find corroborating sources that helps me explain what our culture, from an ethnographic perspective, what jazz musicians do, because people really don't know what we do. And people of color, we historically don't have a voice, or we have a voice, but our voice is not heard in that realm of academia because not enough of us are pursuing PhDs. So that's probably the impetus of why I'm doing that at this time.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Cool. What is the worst thing that's happened to you on a gig?
Man, there's so many of them. I think the worst one is when I came to Atlanta and starting to try to meet people to get gigs. So, you know, typically you sit in at some jam sessions. So I sat in a jam session. I can't remember how I met this cat. I can't remember this guy's name, but first gig I get in Atlanta, this guy calls me up and he says, "Hey, I got a gig." I was like, "Okay." It was on Super Bowl Sunday. I remember that. So it's at this restaurant off of Glenwood, and it's no longer there. It was like a big place. And so we go to play. It's right in between the game. Like, we play the beginning, and then we have how long is the Super Bowl? Like 3 or 4 hours?
Something like that.
Yeah, we play.
I've never watched it straight through.
Dude, we play the beginning
to
and
the
then we
end.
wait
while
they watch the game, even the halftime show. Then when the game finishes, then we play another set. So at the end of the gig, I should have gone home. I didn't think about it. So I'm waiting at this restaurant, whatever, 3 or 4 hours in between commercials, halftime show, all that kind of stuff. We play a final set. I'm dead tired. Go to get paid. The guy says, "Hey man, well look, the drummer called you for the gig for Keyz, but I didn't know the bass player called the guitar player for the gig. So we got to split y'all check." I said,
"Oh no."
So he hands me $10.
$10?
$10. I said, "Wait, $10?" He said, "Yeah, it paid $20." I said, "Man, there's no way I could play a 5-hour gig for $20, man." I brought my equipment out, and I said, "Besides, you giving me $10?" I said, I would have let the guitar player had it for $20, if I'd known this, I'd have gone home, you know. And I said, but you're the band leader. Man, you supposed to take the hit for that. Who's like, oh, I can't do that. I was like, hey, man.
I got bills, man.
Right. I said, man, lose my number. Never call me again.
Did he ever call you?
No.
Wow.
I don't know if he did because I erased his number out of my phone.
Wow.
So, but I was like, wow, welcome to the gig world in Atlanta.
Wow. But and so like you didn't think to ask how much it paid.
It's, you know, that was my bad. I was just happy somebody
That is
called me
crazy.
'cause I
For one thing, the fact because I'm gonna assume that the whole gig probably paid like $50 in all, and then like it was supposed to be split up.
I thought maybe it would have paid more. Like
No, I'm saying like I'm saying if you only got $10 or was supposed to get, I'm saying like the budget for the whole thing was probably some that is
$60.
That is crazy,
it was
bro.
Supposed to pay for 4 people, so $80.
That is crazy.
But we had 5 because bass player, drums, guitar, keys, and a saxophone.
That is wild. That happened one time with the student that you know. And like we did this gig and man, we were so excited about it. We thought it was gonna be a weekly thing. And he comes up to me at the end of the gig with a $20 bill. And I'm like,
at least you got 20, I got 10.
But I'm like, bro.
Bro, this guy.
I'm like, bro.
This is not fair at all.
Like he's like my bad. Like he knew. Right. Like this is a student we both know this.
I remember I had a gig too where we were playing a gig and the guy comes back with a 6-pack of beer, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey man, they did something funny with the money, man, but I got this beer, right? So I'm looking at a saxophone player, the bass player. He kind of walks off a little bit and I say, man, we can't go for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to get some solidarity from the bandmates, right? Man, he comes back with the beer. First person that grabs the beer is a saxophone player. I'll take a beer. I was like, bro, you can't accept the beer.
Like, dog, we're supposed to be
together. I was like, man, never again, bro. So, yeah, that's when I found out sometimes you got to fight for yourself.
Yeah.
Like if, you know, I thought should be fair that everybody gets paid the same amount of money. But, hey, being a keyboard player and naturally we have to learn everything. And I used to write out little charts and stuff too, right? And some people would come and look over your shoulder and watch your charts, read your charts, and they made the same amount of money I made. Then I started to be like, okay, I'm helpful in this situation, but I'm also stupid business-wise because I could have charged that vocalist money to write out charts.
Yeah.
Gave everybody charts.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't thinking business-wise. I was thinking, okay, I'm nice, you know. Hey, but nice cats not going to get the money, so I can make my own deal out, you know. So that's what I learned. I don't have to get paid the same that everybody else get paid if I'm bringing more to the table. Now, you got to do all the other things. You got to show up on time. You got to have good equipment. You got to be professional before you can command that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. Top three. Top 3 like national keyboard players, legends, whatever. And then top 3 keyboard players you know.
Any genre?
If they can hit the ebonies and ivories.
Ooh,
Keyz, organ, whatever.
Oh, okay, well, I got to go with 3 that's been instrumental in my development. So, not that I play like this person, but Oscar Peterson. Hearing him for the first time was the bridge between classical music and jazz for me. Then Herbie Hancock, because just going through all the styles that he did in the Child of the Funk era as well, the stuff that he did. I want to say McCoy Tyner because he was instrumental, but I think Kenny Kirkland.
You can say both. You can add
so that's
one.
jazz guys, but I got so many more, man, that shaped who I am. So, but you forced my hand. That's 3, so I gave you 3.
Gotcha. And then top 3, you know.
Top 3 that I know.
Yeah.
Zach. No, let's see. Okay.
Well, for all intents and purposes, you can leave me out. Just so you can.
Top 3 that I know personally, like I have them in my phone.
Like you can call them up and be like, "That's my homie." Like I am a fan of how you play.
Okay. Daryl Levine.
Okay.
You might not have heard of him, but you should check him out. Daryl Levine. I think he lives in Houston right now, but he was a credible piano player from New Orleans that I was honored to be in a group and learn from him just by the way he played. This is hard to be put on the spot like this because I have a lot of numbers in my phone.
You can do 4 or 5 if you need to be safe about it.
Sure, I wish it was just one because it would be a lot easier. Well, Was piano players we're talking about.
If you play keys, it doesn't matter what type of keys.
Okay. Oh, shoot. Man, this is really on the spot. And I know once I leave here, I'm going to remember people that I probably. Well, when Ellis was alive, Ellis was in my phone number.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right.
that was good. So, and I have one more, right?
If you got to name 2 or 3, because the Atlanta scene, like I can name.
Oh,
3.
you want Atlanta scene?
I mean, like
okay,
no. It doesn't necessarily need to be Atlanta, but I'm thinking like I'm thinking of 3 people that I think are dope that I know that you also know.
Right.
But they're not your favorite, But
well, I love Louis Hervo. I worked with him with a camp this past last month.
Yeah.
And it was incredible to see him watch with the kids and to hear him play. He was great. Then there's like Phil Davis. I just saw him with Kathleen. He was incredible too. Different thing, but great. So Kenny Banks Jr. is just like, man, he's playing so much piano right now,
man,
dude, and so creative.
He's dope.
And he likes the way I play too, so that's crazy.
He's dope.
But to hear him play, and the younger cat, well, he's younger than me, so yeah. And but I have his phone number. So,
yeah. Hey, if you want to keep it at that, that was a good list. Unless you want to name one more person.
I want to name one more, and I'm trying to think. There was this. Okay. I named 2. Helen Sung.
Okay.
She's in New York. She's incredible. And Takana Miyamoto. She used to be on the scene. You don't know her, but you need to check her out.
Gotcha.
Takana is super dope, and she used to live in Atlanta, but I think she's in Japan now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's countless others that's here.
But no, that's a good a good list. Yeah, we're about uplifting the people.
Well,
here,
I gotta mention Gary Motley, Kevin Bales.
Yeah.
Those kind of cats as well. They're super great piano players on the scene.
Got you.
Jazz Graham. I mean, just so many. We have a plethora of piano players in Atlanta. You know? But yeah, Daryl. If you don't know Daryl Levine, you should check him out. George Cables was somebody I met when I toured in Europe.
Okay.
He's an older piano player, but incredible piano player. And not only do I have his number, at that time I had his girlfriend's number because he said, hey, that's the way you're going to be able to reach me. He said, but don't give that number out at all.
Yeah.
So I've never called that number. I was able to reach him. But George Cables is an incredible piano player that I had his phone number and talked to him. And I know you're getting ready to wrap up, but here's a lesson.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was in Europe for 2 weeks on this tour, and they had this trumpet player named Jimmy Owens and George Cables was playing. They had some guys from Europe that was playing, rounding out their group, right? And then I was with the UNO Jazz Band. I had just started getting really good, whatever.
Yeah.
And for the first week, I was listening to George Cables. He was phenomenal. So Jimmy Owens is kind of a brash kind of guy, right? So he says, Jackson, come here. I said, yeah, what's up? He says, what's wrong with you? And you've never had this problem before, but it was a problem for me. He's like, why haven't you talked to George and try to figure out, some things from him? I said, well, I didn't want to disturb him. He's like, man, all he could say is no. He's like, you need to go. He's like a couple of doors down from you. So, man, I mustered up enough nerve in that second week to knock on his door and say, hey, man, you're phenomenal. Can I take a lesson with you, talk to you about some things, conceptual things? He's like, man, I was wondering. He's like, I guess you thought you had it all together because you never said anything to me.
Oh, man.
I was like, I never knew it was going to be this easy.
Yeah, this is right.
So I learned a valuable lesson. A whole person can say is no,
True.
So ask some questions. So he showed me some voicings and some stuff, and some stuff that I've even taught you came from him.
Oh, okay.
Where I would have never known about it. So it's still hard for me to approach people and say, hey, this. But he definitely helped me deal with that. So if you want to and sometimes you got to put your money behind it too. You're like, okay, I'm gonna take a lesson. Everything doesn't have to be free knowledge. So people have worked hard to get whatever knowledge they have or not. I don't tell a person how long it takes me to arrange a song or to engrave a song in software. They don't need to know that. Just know this is what I charge. Because if it takes me 5 minutes and they say, oh, it only took you 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
But it took this knowledge, didn't take 5 minutes, So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good balance to it. Like, you don't want to be on one hand, you don't want to be the gatekeeper of knowledge, but you also have to realize my time is valuable.
It is valuable.
And so if you're trying to get like 3 weeks worth of lessons, then that's different. Now,
Yeah.
if you want me to tell you a couple of things, I got you. You can just hit me up.
Look, my
But, like,
brother said something real poignant. He
Mhm.
said, just because you go on YouTube and find out how to change the alternator doesn't make you a mechanic. So you go on YouTube and learn how to play a couple chords doesn't make you a musician. Doesn't make you a dope piano player because you learned this run.
Mm-hmm.
It's learning how to put that together and how the knowledge how to put that in. You know, makes you a musician. So yeah.
Got you. Your super group. All right. So you have an unlimited budget.
Okay.
Everybody's available. They just need to be alive. You can play in this group. You don't have to. You can rhythm section, horn section, lead vocalist, or what is your idea of a super group?
Marcus Miller on bass.
All right. There you go.
Layla Hathaway on vocals. Think she'll be killing it. Ooh, I didn't think about drums, but let's come back to drums. Okay, what am I lacking? Saxophone. This would be weird. Well, Kenny Garrett.
Okay.
I like Kenny Garrett. Trumpet. If I had a trumpet player, let's see.
You don't have to use a trumpet
I
player.
don't have to use a trumpet player.
Yeah.
Guitar player Lionel Lueke.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Trumpet maybe Terrence Blanchard. I like Terrence Blanchard.
All right.
Okay. Drums Nate Smith.
Okay.
Because he grooves. Even if he plays a mixed meter, it's grooving.
It's grooving.
Yeah. And I said guitar. Second keys, Greg Fillinganes. That's it. Mouse. What else you need?
Larry Wilson did that.
Yeah.
He put Greg Fillinganes on there. So who's on main?
did, okay.
Who's on main?
Oh, me.
You? Oh.
Come on, man.
So you on keys, Greg Fillinganes, Marcus Miller, Nate Smith, Terrence Blanchard, Keith on
Kenny Garrett on
Kenny
sax,
Garrett.
yeah.
Kenny Garrett. And then Layla Hathaway.
vocals, yeah.
That's a good show.
Yeah.
That's a good show.
Could be a good one, bro.
Oh yeah, man.
Unlimited budget.
Unlimited budget, unlimited availability. I was like, everyone's around.
And the Vegas string section.
Ooh.
They have a string section too.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. You've already dropped a lot of gems, but what's the last thing that you want to leave with the people?
To be a piano player is hard work, and the problem with being a piano player is it leads to having insecurities about your playing, and we mask those insecurities by our attitude or how we interact with people, and so we definitely have to feel like, okay, I'm in control all the time, more than any other instrument, because we have so much more to have to deal with and learn. So I could say if you start to learn how to master your insecurity and balance it with having the confidence to say I'm not going to make a mistake, and then also having the balance of saying if I make a mistake, I'll just let it ride. It's fine. I think if you achieve that balance, you're well on your way of being one of the best musicians in the group or in your own town or in the world, if you accept that. Don't let your insecurity hurt other situations that you could be going through. So yeah. Got you. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Your socials, where you want them to reach you at?
Tyrone JAY3 on Instagram, TyroneJackson.com for my website, and I got a couple of shows that's coming up that I'm curating as well.
Okay, when it comes out, they can be passed.
It'll come out in time, I guess. But anyway, look up my website.
Yeah.
Find it there. Yeah. So.
Got you.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. Thank you for coming through.
Sir. I thought this was gonna be more about you. You made it more.
No, this is I'm interviewing
Wow.
This is me interviewing y'all.
I got to come back and talk about you. That's gonna be great.
That's on your show.
Okay,
that's on your show.
My show's gonna have 2 pianos.
All right. Oh, okay. So you can play.
Piano.
So you could play me under the table.
No, we play something complimentary. How about a Rhodes and a piano?
Yeah, all right, I'll take it. But this show is about this is about highlighting keyboard players that I'm fans of, people that I've this is.
I would have talked more about myself if it was. Like
No. This is this show isn't about me.
Okay.
This
is where you have grown, man. Everything's usually about
No. This is because season 1 had all all of the people on season 1 I know.
Okay.
And then there are a couple of people on this season who I don't necessarily know for real,
Right.
but I'm fans of and that I've reached out to. Now, this is about, and just having conversations because, like, I thought about doing a podcast with just artists, and I was like, that's too broad. But there's no show that I know of that just talks to keyboard players.
Right.
Like Questlove Supreme is an awesome show, but that's kind of broad.
Right.
Corey Wong, he only talks to guitar players and bass players.
Right.
There's another show that I like. R&B Money Podcast is a great one, but that's R&B artists, but they also branch out to gospel or whatever.
Right.
But I was like, I play keys. That's what I'm a fan of. I want to talk to keyboard players, and everyone who I've had on here. There's some crossover, of course, but everyone on here is unique in their own way.
Well, I'm doing a podcast soon too, so I'm
for
gonna
real?
have you on it. Yeah,
Let me know.
Me and Chris Burrows, a drummer.
Yeah.
And so we're call ourselves the local guys, local musicians.
Please,
So,
call me up.
Yeah.
But and then this mini series in particular, I had to get all of my keyboard teachers on here, and so I had my first piano teacher. I had my second one, the person who taught me gospel.
Okay.
And then I had you.
See, that is.
So yeah, this isn't a no. It's 4. It's 4 y'all.
4.
It's
Boy,
4
it takes
y'all.
a nation to raise you after this.
So yeah, like I said, much appreciated, and like I said to everyone else, the version of Zach Wilson would be different if I didn't have all 4 of you.
Oh, beautiful. That's good.
So yeah,
I
man.
think we all worked well to get you where you are.
I got to get you all in the same room at the same time.
Oh, that would be
I've
nice.
met.
We could share some war stories about
What I feel like it would just be a roast session, and I just
that's
be there.
Needed. That
I
has
just
to
be
happen.
there. Like, but if you can make it to middle of Georgia, I can get all 4 of y'all in the same room.
Let's do it.
And I just sit here and
Does Middle Georgia have good food?
We can find you a good spot.
Take care of that, and I'm there.
Yeah. All right. Much appreciated.
Thank you, brother.
We didn't even talk about FTMO, but hey, that's the. But of course, I always push. But I always push the latest project. Y'all go get Tyrone's latest album, FTMO.
I'm working
There's
on
a new one.
Yes.
New one coming through, right?
Yes.
What's the
timeline?
timeline? What's the timeline?
Oh, after I get this doctorate. So
man, I'm gonna get so
year.
buried in the mix. I was like, you're on it. You're on it.
Maybe you play melodica on it.
I took the melodica to New Orleans. I
Really?
didn't play it on bourbon like how I wanted to, but I took it. There's a video of me playing it backstage.
Okay, cool.
But now it was I took it there just
beautiful,
just to do it.
Well, you're doing great things, man. I'm proud of you, man.
Appreciate it.
Really
Much
proud of you,
appreciated.
man.
Tyrone Jackson, y'all get his latest album, FTMO, From the Mind of. That's been another episode of the Major Keyz podcast. Keep pressing on. We will see y'all next time.
Yeah, peace.